Hello artists, and welcome back to another YouTube video where today I'm going to be talking about referencing. But first I would like to announce two things, and that is at the beginning of my videos I'm now going to kind of pick a favorite comment of mine and feature that for those who comment on my videos to kind of, I guess, do a bit more of public interaction with the community that I'm growing here. And also I would like to start giving shout outs, ideally to artists, so I can at least maybe feature work at the beginning of videos. So if you'd like to win a kind of shout out in my YouTube video, if you kind of take a picture or print screen this or screenshot this or whatever and put it on your Instagram story and tag me in it, you get a chance of a shout out in my next YouTube video. So my favorite comment of this week or whatever, this video I guess, goes to a Benzar T, who described my recent response to Alpi FA's cloud painting, my most recent video, like, he said it's like a floating castle created by a grand wizard. And I feel like that was a legit comment. Also got a fresh cut. So back to the main topic, and that is references. I had a question from someone. They messaged saying or commented saying that, you know, when is it kind of, what's my take on references? When should you use them? When should you not use them? I'm at one extreme end of the spectrum. I know that there are people with different opinions, but I feel like the reality is you should always be using references, no matter what you're doing, whether that be figurative work, realism, or, you know, abstraction. And I'll explain about abstraction later, because I'm kind of I guess a semi-abstract artist myself, and I use references all the time, 100% of the time. And when I don't, I just make bad work. And I would say that if you're not using a reference, then it's a bit silly, because unless your work is purely about maybe a material or a process or a set kind of way of doing something through instructions, or is the point of the work is to not draw from some kind of imagery or reference, then I think that's fine, but you should be using references in almost every single other context. Now, the reason I say that is because our brain forgets things all the time. Anyone understands this for when you try and, I don't know, draw something even quite simple. You try and put it down on paper. You have this image in your head, but you cannot render it on paper unless you've practiced that object or thing over and over and over again. So I guess before I go further, I guess I should explain what a reference is. If for anyone not knowing what I'm meaning when I'm saying a reference, I'm talking about a photograph, some kind of design that you've either created yourself or put together for a painting or a piece of artwork. Any kind of material referencing can also be something that isn't necessarily relating to an image, but obviously I'm speaking in the painter's context. That can be reference from reality, reference from a photograph, reference from a video, a still from a film, something like this. And by using a reference, I guarantee you that if you are trying to, you know, create something which you kind of can reference to and you already have an idea of what the end goal is, where that plan and that design is in place, that is your reference, then your outcome is going to be so much better than what it would have been if you didn't use a reference. And I know for a fact that professional artists use references all the time, and that can be from Google Images, their own photographs, videos, whatever, films. Everyone uses a range of things. Now, the key to obviously creativity is how you use those references, because by just Googling an image, printing it and copying it, there isn't a lot of kind of, you're not really flexing your creative muscles by doing that. And I wouldn't advise, unless you're training in a certain medium, to do this kind of painting, just because I feel like you're not really going to learn much in terms of creative process and move towards building your own kind of, you could say, brand for painting, or maybe your own unique style or set of ideas isn't going to come from just printing pictures off Google and copying them. What's great about using references is it really doesn't matter, because they're behind the scenes. It doesn't matter if you're using things that don't belong to you. but you can basically, you can use things that are your own, you can use things that are other people's, but as long as your finished product is far away enough from your reference, then you're not going to be kind of shot down for copying or copyright or be sued by some random artist, as far as I'm aware, because the copyright system, the way it works is you can use anything you want, but as long as the finished product is different enough from those things that you are initially using. Now, when it comes to this kind of, I guess, flexing these creative muscles, what do I mean? I mean, when you're using references, you don't have to just be drawing inspiration from one reference. Now, if you're into, for example, a certain style of painting, or you want to have a certain kind of maybe texture, or you admire a certain kind of artist for their style, and you want to draw from that, well, by draw I mean draw inspiration, not pencil drawing, but you can print, for example, several elements of their work. Let's just say you're into Willem de Kooning, right? Get his work, okay, abstract, large, kind of painterly marks, right? And you want to use that kind of, maybe try to attempt to build that kind of texture in your work, but you're also into figurative painting. So you can combine his kind of large, I guess, quite abstract brushwork with a realistic figure. You've referenced his work, but you've added your own kind of, I guess, element into the painting, which could have been from something you saw in real life, a photograph you took, or someone sitting across the room from you that you are referencing. I guess that counts as real life. I am just repeating myself. Now, just as a side note, I am going to do a video on this idea of stealing from your favorite artists, how to do it properly, how not to kind of just end up being a copycat, and I will speak about that in a video in itself. So that's just as a side note. I won't go too deep really into the kind of copying / stealing aspect. Rather, I just want to speak about the reference side of things. So let me address abstract work now. How the hell do you use a reference for abstract work? Well, I just kind of gave you an example with Willem de Kooning. He's an abstract expressionist making abstract work. You're looking at texture, you're looking at process, you're looking at color. Maybe, you know, trying to replicate that in an abstract sense for your own kind of concept and ideas is something that you want to do. If you're looking at, for example, I don't know, let's just say you wanted to do a de Kooning style kind of painting, but you're into something around your concept revolves around, I don't know, black and white or monochrome, a monochrome palette. So you would drain all the color from his work and then just work in black and white, something like that. You would end up with a painting maybe in a similar style to his, but completely void of color, which I don't know, maybe that's a good idea. You guys can try that. But in terms of abstract work, you see a lot of abstract artists as well actually referencing things that they're interested in. Take the artist Jason Martin. Now, he's well known for kind of, he has a series of work with kind of horizontal brushstrokes on huge aluminium panels, and he speaks about part of his work sometimes is referencing the landscape, and you can see that with the kind of horizontal brush marks. Even though his work is kind of very abstract and very about kind of the painting process, he's still technically referencing, I guess, well-known concepts when he's making this work. So, in conclusion, always think about references. Don't draw from your bloody imagination, because your imagination is always referencing something that you've seen anyway. So why don't you just do it better by having that thing in front of you, preparing that thing in front of you, and referencing it when you are making work, because then your work will be better. Okay, so as a final note, I would actually advise, we are in a modern day and age where kind of we have the tools to enable us to quickly kind of whip up a digital painting, put collages together, learn how to kind of do some, I'd say, get the basics of digital artwork down, because it is very easy to plan digital paintings and then reference your own designs which have already been kind of technically evolved into your own work. This is what I do. I will design my own digital paintings, and then I will use those digital designs to then reference for my big paintings, and obviously work and evolve things as I go. And as I always say, a better plan always results in a better result. That really doesn't sound very smooth, but I'm gonna finish here. There's 1 week left of the painting giveaway, the Monet study. So if you haven't entered the giveaway, go and see my Monet study video, which says painting giveaway on it. And don't forget to comment or tag me in an Instagram story for a possible shout out in the next video. I think this is a good idea that I kind of stole from another content creator that I was watching. But as usual, if you have any questions, comment, message me on Instagram, whatever. I hope this video has been useful to those thinking about references. Always use references. And I'm gonna say my awkward bye.